We have to start supporting ourselves. We have to add value to our content and our voices.
Hey, hey, haters gone, hate supporters done it. Hey, hey, hey. Haters gone, hate supporters done it. Hey. Support me your own, don't support one of them clones. I'm really one of them ones, I'm really in my they dumb. Cash app, $sign on by rhyme. Hey, 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 hey. Haters gone, hate supporters done it. Hey, 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 hey. Haters gone, hate supporters done it. Hey. Support me your own, don't support one of them clones. I'm really one of them ones, I'm really in my they dumb. Cash app, $sign on by rhyme. I'm really real one of them. I'm really him, I'm really out here standing on 10. Like and subscribe, thumbs up the video. I'm really real one of them. I'm really him, I'm really out here standing on 10. Like and subscribe, thumbs up the video. Haters gone, hate supporters done it. Haters gone, hate supporters done it. Support me your own, don't support one of them clones. I'm really one of them ones, I'm really in my they dumb. Cash app, $sign on by his rhyme. Haters gone, hate supporters done it. Haters gone, hate supporters done it. Support me your own, don't support one of them clones. I'm really one of them ones, I'm really in my they dumb. Cash app, $sign on by his rhyme. I'm really real one of them. I'm really him, I'm really out here standing on 10. Like and subscribe, thumbs up the video. I'm really real one of them. I'm really him, I'm really out here standing on 10. Like and subscribe, thumbs up the video. Haters gone, hate supporters done it. Haters gone, hate supporters done it. Support me your own, don't support one of them clones. I'm really one of them ones, I'm really him, but they dumb. Cash app, $sign on by his rhyme. Haters gone, hate supporters done it. Haters gone, hate supporters done it. Support me your own, don't support one of them clones. I'm really one of them ones, I'm really him, but they dumb. Cash app, $sign on by his rhyme. Please don't, please support on it. I'm really one of them ones, I'm really him, but they dumb. Cash app, $sign on by his rhyme. Cash app, $sign on by his rhyme. Cash app, $sign on by his rhyme. I'm really real one of them ones that they dumb. Thumbs up, subscribe, cash app, $sign on by his rhyme.
Yes, yes, yes. So you got it right. We're going to look into how did the word, or you can say words, African American replace black. You know, at one point we were proud to be black, but I guess that was a lie, right? Because we went to call ourselves something else to replace black, not to go hand in hand with black, but a new terminology was to replace black. So my question is, are you proud to be black still? Or you're something else now? And apparently that was what was happening then and what's happening now. So for some people, being proud to be black was a grift because they changed their position later. We're gonna look into that. And now the why, we only can speculate. Okay, I got some circumstantial stuff that makes me conclude, we got some agents out here, but again, just all speculation. But yeah, man, we're gonna really get on this right here. So let's start with this. Let's start with why why Black American over African American? Well, for one, the term African American confuses people, not Black. For example, why do I say that? There is a dual usage problem with African American. Let me explain. I don't know why I get the water. Okay, okay, come sit down and get you. All right. So let me do this right here. What do I got? What do I okay. So let me first, before I start to speak about the dual usage problem with African American, how about let people speak for themselves how the term African American confuses them? We're talking about recent immigrants that come over here either from Africa or the Caribbean. Let's see how the term African American confuses them. Now we got a bunch of loud ass, like goddamn, about 20,000 illegals came up here. All right, so let's tackle the confusion with the term African American coming from immigrants on mouth, on experience.
You would say, you say African American.
Yeah.
What's that mean for you?
Just means that, like me, like I know like a lot of people, like African Americans in general, like Black people say they're African American, and like that always confuses me. Sometimes it's like, well, are you really African American, or are you just like Black? Like, of course, there's this like long line of ancestry where people who are born in America and are Black are, I guess, because of slavery and that long line of ancestry, are considered African American. But I feel like for me, it should be more like a direct or more recent link.
Yeah.
So therefore, Black people in America aren't technically really African American. Like, it's really weird.
It's really weird. You identify as African American?
No. Well, I'd lie. I'm lying. Okay, systematically, yes, because that was the only box I had.
So that was the only box she had. So she wasn't given another choice. This is a Haitian young woman. She wasn't given another choice to express her Haitian lineage in America. The only box she had was African American. So that there's some influence on people to check the box, even when they don't believe that fits them. Like the other young woman stated earlier, she was confused. Like, well, African American, but then there's Black, and then there's people who were born here that went to U.S. chattel slavery, descendants of slavery, and they're called Black, and then they're also called African American. And then she said it was weird. Like it's hard to explain, but it's hard to comprehend is where she was going. And then you had this woman right here. He said, do you acknowledge yourself as African American? Her first answer was no. Then she came back and said, well, I guess because I got to check the box, but on my day-to-day activities, no.
Automatically, yes, because that was the only box I had. Okay, systematically.
American?
No. Well,
You identify as African American?
no. Well, I'd lie. I'm lying. Okay, systematically, yes, because that was the only box.
So that's not confusing. Do you identify as African American? No. Well, yeah. Systematically, that's the only box. That sounds like a bunch of confusion.
I had Black.
Systematically, yes, because that was the only box I had, or Black.
But as I got older, I was like, but I'm not African American.
But as the Haitian woman got older in America, she came to terms that she's not African American. You see? Confusion. I'm checking the box that I'm African American, but as I get older, I know that I'm Haitian. I'm not African American, but I got to keep checking this damn box to get monies and resources that's supposedly allocated to African Americans. So to get some of these resources, I got to check this box.
So
You identify as African American?
no. Well, I'd lie. I'm lying. Okay, I'd lie. I'm lying. Okay.
Yeah. So there you go. So that is a ball of confusion with the word African American. Let's go further. So we have a brother, right, who was attempting to give a to do a presentation on why we are African American. And midway during this presentation, the host stopped him and said, "The points you're making are contradicting your overall claim, your overall conclusion." And she tried to show him that, like, hey, you're actually arguing why delineation is needed. So proving this, we're African American and no other term needs to be set set for a lineage that's exclusive than other recent people who are not of the lineage. He got cut off right away and got cooked. Listen.
Right? Caribbean. And watch this. Encompasses descendants of enslaved Africans and immigrants from Africa and the Caribbean. It emphasizes cultural continuity. Go ahead. What were you saying, Doc?
I want to interject really quickly, Unc. And this is why when you and I were arguing on the telephone, so I want the family to know, and maybe the people who are just watching us don't know, that a lot of these conversations that we have publicly are birthed from arguments that Unc and I have behind closed doors. This is why when you and I talked, I said, Unc, you don't think we should throw the term African American away? No, we shouldn't throw it away. I said, Unc, it is not specific to our lineage here in America. Anybody that comes over here who's a descendant, who is of African descent, can claim to be an African American. This is why I said I do believe that we should have a name that is specifically for us, that other Black immigrants cannot come into the country and hijack. And you
Okay, now this is a woman that's a Pan-African who has been studying Pan-African studies, got courses, got kids cartoons on that type of stuff, and she got a doctorate degree. So now she's trying to educate this guy. You see the title. Should Black Americans delineate from continental and diasporan Africans, freedmen, ADOS, or FBA? So his presentation was supposed to be no. But as she pointed out, the presentation is pointing to we need to delineate. This is a confusion term. It's too broad. Okay, so now let's go into some of the reasons why this whole thing is brought about. So just a quick Google AI overview. Black Americans are engaging in a delineation movement to distinguish the unique historical and cultural experiences of DAS, descendants of enslaved people in the U.S., from those of more recent African or Caribbean immigrant populations. This is not intended to be discriminatory, but is driven by specific concerns regarding ancestry, history, and resources. This is why the delineation call is needed, okay? And then you're going to get an explanation of some of the loudest voices that was champion delineation. So let me do that for you right now.
But yeah, listen, family, we're the only group of people who are called divisive simply because we acknowledge our unique ethnic group. Do we not have a unique ethnicity? We either do or we don't. See, that's why when people start talking about divisiveness, they can never really say what it is, and they start talking a bunch of straw man arguments. No, lineage is lineage. There's no ideology. Your lineage is your lineage. There is no leader. There is no group. There is no cult. Anytime people say that, that's usually Fed talk. Your lineage is your lineage. There's nothing wrong with acknowledging and then defining your lineage. We aren't Jamaican. We're not continental Africans. Okay, from where? If we're continental Africans, what nation state are we clicked in with? We don't get no dual citizenship in no Africa, so we're not going to be claiming to be some damn generic Africans. No. We have a very unique ethnic group. And the fact that we acknowledge it triggers people. Why does it trigger people? See, they want foundational Black Americans to be a permanent underclass without boundaries. When foundational Black Americans, when we delineate ourselves as a distinct ethnic group, that threatens the whole system that treats us as an undefined, exploitable underclass. See, other groups, they're allowed to have ethnic pride because they're not expected to play this role. We're supposed to be just undefined, and then everybody can just latch on anything we do. You see, and also foundational Black American delineation, that forces accountability for all of the anti-Black practices that go on. When we define who we are, that exposes mistreatment that we specifically face from white society and from non-FBA immigrants. Because a lot of people like to sit up here and blur identity so this accountability can't happen. So now that we've delineated, we can call out the musty Myron Gaines. Speaking of Myron Gaines is a cancer, and we've extrapolated that cancer. We don't let that cancer get among us. That's what you do to cancers. You identify it and then remove that shit. Because sometimes a cancer cell can start off looking like a regular cell, but it's dangerous. So you better know what a cancer cell is, because it'll get inside of you and grow. We are the Candace Owens and these people who identify as Caribbean and African and all of that. We should have been delineating from that a long time ago. So now that we've delineated, now that we have different goggles on in order to see who's among us and what their agenda is, we can spot tethers a mile away now, and they hate that. That's what they really hate. They hate when they come around saying some stupid ass shit. We see, hey, like, where you from? The first thing we ask, where you from? That's kryptonite to a tether. That's why they get so offended. When somebody does something stupid, we're like, hey, wait, whose man is this? Hey man, where you from? Where your family from? What nigga? What is that? We're all black, nigga. We're all black people. Divisive. Oh, there you go. Yeah, you damn right we asking questions now. We ain't gonna have everybody running up around us talking about they black and they do everything they can to undermine us and do all types of phenomenal things for their ethnic group and their fellow.
So what we're saying is we're saying immigrants come over here, especially from Africa and the Caribbean. They come over here and either they do it themselves or media does it. Either way, it's still a bad look for us, right? Descendants of slaves, descendants of slavery, American slavery, okay? Not the Americas, American slavery. Right. So this is what often happens. When it's something of like negativity, they get wrapped up in their whole black on black crime stats, robbery, things like that. But when it's something great, they're no longer black. They're no longer African American. Now they are the most successful immigrant group in the country, Nigerian. They're not the most successful immigrant. They're not the most successful black immigrant group in the country. They're now the most successful immigrant Nigerian group in the country. You see how Nigerian comes into play all of a sudden? When Hussein Bolt was winning like crazy with track, he's not the fastest black man in the world. He's the fastest Jamaican man. So when it's something positive, we caught on, they usually tie in their homeland. But when it's negative, they get lumped up with everybody supposedly black. So this is some of the core reasons why we're delineating. We're saying, hold on. If there's some crime going on in New York, which a lot of immigrants from the Caribbean and Africa are there, if they're committing crimes, we don't want that attached to Black American crimes, right? Descendants of slavery crimes, because we already got enough burden, right? We got enough slander from white America. So we like, we can't allow more to be thrown on what's already there. So we're saying no. The stats just show this crime rate or this burglary, this gang activity is coming from this particular people, and they have a homeland. That's called delineate. So now we can focus. Now the country can focus on how to limit crime coming from those immigrants that come to immigrate to America. If it was Black Americans, we could focus on what's causing that crime. Maybe a school to prison pipeline, maybe a single parent, whatever. But now we can actually solve problems. You can't solve problems when everybody is lumped up as one stat. Asian hate. Asia is a race, just like African American. But when you think of Asian, you only think of Chinese. Why? East Indians are Asian, Japanese are Asian. Right. So you see, so there's a lot of wordplay here that needs to be straightened out. Because when you say certain words, we only think of certain people. When you think of Asians, you only think of Chinese. And when you think of Black crime stats, you only think of U.S. people that are ADOS, American descendants of slavery, Foundation Black Americans, those who were also called African Americans. Right. So these are some reasons why we delineating. It's to solve problems. It ain't to cause confusion, be divisive, be xenophobic. It's to solve problems. Now I'm going to touch on Black, how it came about, African American, how it came about and why it came about, and who was the catalyst involved in pushing Black, who were the catalysts involved in pushing African American. Big difference.
Immigrants like Obama. Yeah, we wised up. Obama didn't do a goddamn thing for us. Let us get slaughtered while rolling out the red carpet for fellow immigrants. And then Kamami was going to do the same thing. And we said no. Come on, now y'all act like you talk about divisive. Divisive is a damn vice president talking about, I ain't going to do nothing that's only going to help Black people. No. Yet you kick the damn door open for fellow immigrants. And we're divisive because we ain't going for that bullshit ass program. Man.
Okay, so there's a real term, a scientific term called ethnogenesis. Ethnogenesis, let's break that down. What is it? What is the Black American ethnogenesis?
But the thing is, there's a mixture. We are a mixture. What makes us foundational Black Americans, that we're mixed with the indigenous and we're mixed with the Africans who were brought over during the slave trade. And then we had an ethnogenesis. So we became a whole new ethnic group. And that ethnic group was the foundation of the United States, making our ethnic group indigenous to the United States, because we're the first ethnic group of what would become the United States. Who built it? We built this thing from scratch. So that makes us indigenous. Unlike the Europeans who came from somewhere else, we were created here. Our ethnogenesis is here.
Which separates us from all other people of African descent in the world. We're our own group. We're our own ethnic group. We're separate from everybody else. Just like Haitians are their own people, they're separate from everybody else. Jamaicans, Kenyans, Nigerians, Zimbabweans. We're all separate. We're all different. We have little things in common, but we're different. And it's okay to be different. You don't got to be the same thing. Okay. So now let's move forward to the confusing term African American. All right. So as I was saying before, this term confuses people because of the dual uses problems. Okay. African American is used two different ways. It's used as a broad racial descriptor, meaning any American of African descent, including immigrants from Nigeria, Jamaica, Haiti, etc. This is the broad racial descriptor. In everyday speech, media, schools, and HR, this is common. So in everyday speech, it's common to group up all these people as African American. immigrants from Nigeria, Jamaica, Haiti, and also Black Americans. Now, here's the other way to use it as a specific ethnocultural group, meaning only descendants of enslaved people in the U.S. who developed a distinct culture over centuries. This is the ethnogenesis that was just explained. What many people mean when they say Black American in a cultural sense. See? So, how can this word, or these words, African American, be exclusive and inclusive at the same time? That, by definition, is a contradiction. How can you be inclusive but also exclusive? Okay, so case in point. Case in point. Let's give you some of the confusion by the African immigrants. I gave you that already from the school. Let's do it from the personal now.
Let me say that again. I am not Black, okay? Hear me out. Growing up, my mom absolutely hated when we refer to ourselves as Black. She's like, you're not Black, you're Nigerian, you're African. I feel like the term someone
I agree with her. But again, that term African American, it confuses people and she ain't having it.
is Black obviously comes from the slave era, but it also just describes displaced people that don't know their heritage. So I feel like people that do know their heritage, to try and curb racism in some way, people are going to be racist. Ignorance is ignorance. You can't. But just to curb racism in a small way, stop referring to yourself as Black. You know, if you know where you're from, you're raised in a certain household. You know, Somalians are Somalians, Ethiopians are Ethiopians, Nigerians are Nigerians. Like, if you know where you're from.
Yeah, that sounds exactly like me. And that sounds like Prophet Smalls. I'm going to play a little later. Look, we're saying the same things, but some people in America want to pretend they're confused. You're hearing it from a Nigerian woman. She says, you're not them. She's saying people of Africa is not Black. They're from Nigeria. They're from Kenya. They're from South Africa. She's naming countries. She's saying that's where you're from and you're named after your country. You're not named Black.
As Black, you know, if you know where you're from, you're raised in a certain household. You know, Somalians are Somalians, Ethiopians are Ethiopians, Nigerians are Nigerians. Like, if you know where you're from, why refer to yourself as a color? I feel like when we say Black, it just sounds so harsh and like, this is Black. I'm brown. You know, I'm Nigerian at the end of the day. Like, that's who I am. That's where.
Okay, so that's a major problem, is that they don't understand how Black Americans use Black. So you see, everybody else outside of descendants of slavery in America, they look at Black as a color, an adjective, a descriptor. So they all reject it. And it was most commonly given to them by an outsider, whether it be the Arabs or the white people. And watch this. She continues.
So I understand when you say Black British or Black American, because you don't know where you're from. You're just a person of color in the city that you're in. Obviously, you still be treated the way you're treated, but just like, I feel like when I hear someone refer to me as Black, it just sounds so harsh, especially coming from a certain demographic. I think if you have the privilege of knowing where you're from, you shouldn't refer to yourself as a color, because it further, you know, pushes the racism narrative and further.
Here we go.
Okay, so, so again, like, this is no secret. Black Americans know we're the only Blacks, and people who are of African descent from other countries, they know they're not Black. One more.
African Americans prioritize Blackness isn't necessarily the same way in which an immigrant would prioritize their Blackness. So, you know how African Americans will say, oh, Black writer, Black creator, Black artist, Black lawyer, Black doctor, Black woman in STEM. No, when we come to this country, it's immigrant or nationality, maybe our careers next, and then whatever else comes after that. So immigrant, Jamaican, marketer, whatever else comes after that. The issue that you're having is we don't see ourselves as one of you.
Okay, this Jamaican young woman, the issue you Black Americans are having is that we Jamaicans, we immigrants, do not see ourselves as one of you, and you are Black American. We don't see ourselves as Black. Okay? She said it. We are immigrant first, Jamaican second, and her career third when they come to America. We don't entertain being black unless some type of resources or monies are being allocated towards this immigrant group. Okay, let's go further. So when Obama was running for president, I believe this is when the delineation movement started. Many Black Americans did not accept Obama being the first Black, first African American anything. Okay, many Black Americans started to express in their personal spaces and in their public and in public spaces that Obama isn't Black at all. He's definitely not Black like us. He's not African American like us. All right, because again, we thought of Black and African American as exclusive terms only for those who experienced U.S. chattel slavery in America. We didn't know that the OMB, Office Management and Budget, came out and made Black and African American a racialized term, meaning it fits, it umbrellas more people than just Black Americans that have a lineage in this country. We didn't know that. Okay, so when we say Black American, African American, we were using it in a way where it only referred to ourselves. But unbeknownst to us, this country had a different plan for those terms. So Obama started to be catapulted as possibly, because he's running for president, as the first Black president, and also the first African American president. So many Black people say, "Oh, hell no." That's not, if he wins, that's not reflective or symbolic as the first Black American. We will all say he don't have no slave roots here. He come from somewhere else. That's not a win for the people who have descendants who are descendants of slavery in America. That's not a win for us. That's not overcoming slavery to be chief and commander of the country. That ain't what that is. Our thing was, wow, we went from being a slave to chief and commander of the country. Obama becoming president, that don't represent that. That represents a person coming from another country, immigrating over here and becoming president. Like, what that got to do with us? That's what we were saying. And here's case in point.
Obama.
Wait, first of all, I'm gonna first show a white American. See, there was no real term. So once immigrants of Africa and the Caribbean were being called African American, there was really no way to differentiate Black U.S. nativists, right? People born in this country who always had citizenship dating back from 1865, emancipated persons, right? There was no way to differentiate us from recent African immigrant, Caribbean immigrants. So they would use one acronym to distinguish us from them. Watch this.
Obama will announce his candidacy this weekend at the old state capitol in Springfield, Illinois, where Abraham Lincoln made his stirring House Divided speech. How historic. At a building made famous by the man who freed the slaves, Obama isn't the descendant of slaves.
So he went to do a speech at Abraham Lincoln, whatever, to be symbolic of Abraham Lincoln freeing slaves. And he's saying, Obama, what that got to do with you? Your family doesn't come from the freed slaves. So he said the acronym that we use today, ADOS. He said Obama is not a descendant of slaves. So basically, why are you there? Why are you there? That's something for a Black American. Like, had Jesse Jackson won, let's say had Al Sharpton won, that's something that they can do. Why are you there? You're not a descendant of slavery. So you got a white man acknowledging that there's a difference. So why are we grouped together? Our differences should be respected. Watch this. So by the way, this is 2007. Let's cook.
Is Barack Obama Black?
No, he's not.
No, he's not. This is Deborah Dickerson. This is 2007. This is light years before ADOS, light years before FBA, light years before an official delineation movement. You want to call it that? Light years before that. So we were already delineating way before, because we were saying, ho, you the first black what? You the first African American. No, you're not. So this was the sentiment during that time. I remember I was in these spaces. I remember. So is Obama black? No, he's not. Why? Because he's not, like the white man said earlier. No, because he's not DOS. In order to be a black American, you have to be DOS, descendant of slavery. ADOS, American slavery.
Is Barack Obama black?
No, he's not. In the American political context, black means the son of West African, the descendant of West African slaves brought here to labor in the United States. It's not a put down. It's not to say that he hasn't suffered. It's not to say that he doesn't have a glorious lineage of his own. It's just to say that he and I, who am descended from West African slaves brought to America, we are not the same.
We are not the same. 2007. We're not done. This is also 2007. This is a brother, a minister of Nation of Islam, ex-minister. This is Minister Keith X. This is also 2007. So now, as you can see, that people were resenting Obama being labeled the first black anything and the first African American anything, because they all understood he's not representing the descendants of slavery in America. So we knew that if you pitch him as the first black, the first African American, that would be received as he had lineage here. This is a win for the lineage. And we're saying, oh, hell no, that's not a win for the lineage. That's a win for Kenya. That's a win for Africa. That's not a win for those who were formerly enslaved and the descendant of those who were enslaved, the descendants of those who were enslaved. Listen to this.
In their politics. They don't see you as part of the politics. That's right. Barack Obama is a big joke to derail the system. You're not in their politics.
So I want you to see the date. 16 years ago, you see the date, 16 years ago. This is 2007, okay? So it's longer than 16 years, but let's go. It was uploaded 16 years ago. How do I know? This is my channel.
They don't see you as part of the politics. That's right. Barack Obama is a big joke to derail the Democratic Party from getting in. That they can leave Republicans in there and continue to do what they're doing. Not only that, he's not black.
You heard that. He didn't stutter. Not only that, he's not black. And what do we mean by you're not black? We mean you're not a descendant of slavery in America. That's all that means when we're saying we're not black. When I say we're the only black people in the world, that's exactly how I'm using it. We're the only people who were enslaved in the United States of America. We're the only blacks, because that's how it's defined. When we came up with the word black, it was tied to our unique experience in America, starting from the 1600s all the way to where we are now. So you cannot be black if you can't trace your lineage to U.S. chattel slavery. It's a real simple understanding that was beyond me. This brother just said it in 2007. Deborah Dickerson said it in 2007. And the white guy was like, yo, no, he ain't the first nothing, because he's not a descendant of slaves. So that's how black is being defined and how it's always been defined. So how did African American and why did African American replace black? Now we see how black is being defined: a descendant of slavery in the US, right? In the USA. So if African American is coming to replace that, how is that defined? And I can tell you, it ain't defined the same way. So basically people are trying to replace our unique experience in this country. They're trying to dilute it. So now when recent immigrants from Africa and the Caribbean come over here, they're not DOS, they're not ADOS, they're not foundation, they're not FBA, they're not descendants of freedmen, but they're allowed to take on titles, names that is tied to descendants of freedmen or the Freedmen Bureau and freedom emancipation. They're taking on titles that's tied to building this country up, tobacco, free labor, tobacco, all that type of stuff, cotton, railroads, convict leasing, black reconstruction. When you take on these names, you're taking on that as well. There's no way to separate it. This is why we're saying, oh no, this got to stop. And now they're taking advantages of resources that's allocated supposedly just for those harmed parties, and we were the only people here that were harmed as an entire people. You had individuals here and there, but as an entire people, we were the only people to never benefit from this system. So those other people that was harmed, whatever, they got the reparations. Their reparations were they were included into whiteness, so they got white privilege, and they benefited from all of these welfare programs that we never benefited from. We were never brought into whiteness. That's the difference. Okay, so last video. So this is obviously Dr. Minkongo, Domingo, whatever. But this is 14 years ago. Now, this is I guess, a Pan-African doctor, whatever. That I guess he studies African studies, whatever. But even he is going to testify of the ongoing debate whether Obama, not just Obama represents something. He represents recent immigrants from Africa and the Caribbean, how they're not black. Listen.
Over the past few days, the debate has been raging once again over President Obama's blackness. Some saying he's not black enough or African American enough because...
I'm done. Okay. So I showed 3 different people around the same time acknowledging that this was an ongoing topic. He's not black. Okay. So let's leave that and let's come here. We got to come here. Y'all remember this guy right here? Hold on. Okay, so Dr. King and from my research, has never identified himself as an African American, but he did identify himself as a Negro, maybe colored, and for sure black. So the question is, how did we go from black to African American, and why? What is the agenda behind it?
Believe. I come here tonight and plead with you. Believe in yourself and believe that you're somebody. As I said to the group last night, nobody else can do this for us. No document can do this for us. I come here tonight, an Emancipation Proclamation can do this for us. No Kennethonian or Johnsonian Civil Rights Bill can do this for us. If the Negro is to be free, he must move down into the inner resources of his own soul and...
Okay, so he used the word Negro. What else?
Sign with a pen and ink of self-assertive manhood his own Emancipation Proclamation. Don't let anybody take your manhood. Be proud of our heritage. As somebody said earlier tonight, we don't have anything to be ashamed of. Somebody told a lie one day. They couched it in language. They made everything black, ugly, and evil. Look in your dictionary and see the synonyms of the word black.
And that's why everybody rejected the term. Except, okay, and then we took on the term and redefined it as something other than those synonyms. You dig?
It's always something degrading and low and sinister. Look at the word white. It's always something pure, high, and clean. Well,
By the way, let's get these likes up. I mean, the regulars, you got to know when you come in, the regulars of the lineage that supposedly support, like you guys got to know when you come in, like the video. I mean, God, I should have to say this every live. I got to say this every live. Simply like the video. This is a big deal. I'm cracking the code. Okay, great research here. Let the family come in and embrace it and understand it and comprehend it and even share it. Like the video.
But I want to get the language right tonight. I want to get the language so right that everybody here will cry out, yes, I'm black, I'm proud of it, I'm black and beautiful.
I'm black and beautiful. Dr. King, he didn't say I'm African American and proud, I'm African American and beautiful. He said I'm black and proud, I'm black and beautiful. So why, if black is synonymous with pride and beauty, why would we change it? It sounds like a perfect word to describe people of the lineage that stems from U.S. chattel slavery. What need to change that word if it's synonymous with pride, beauty, and power, black power? Let's hear that guy.
Been concerned about white America, never about our problem has been as black people,
Our problem as being black people. Who's this? Does he look familiar? This is Stokely Carmichael. All right. He is champion as creating a term, the chant, black power. Okay. Not African American power, not African power. Okay. Black power. So again, I asked the question, if black is synonymous with beauty, pride, and power, what needs to replace that with anything? Hello? Why would you change a name that's synonymous with pride, power, and beauty? To me, it sounds like a finesse. Okay, a finesse. So this man right here, his name is Stokely Carmichael. I think he changed his name to Kwame Ture, something like that. But as you can see, black people. This is 60 something, 67 or something like that.
our problem has been as black people, we've always been concerned about white America.
Okay, so if this brother, and like I said, he coined the term, they say black power. So he should be the last person, right, to switch his position from black to black people, like he just said, to African American, right? He coined the term black power. He should be one of the last people to change that position, right? Because if we got him change his position and dropping black, that's synonymous with power, beauty, and pride. And he's now adopting a new term that sounds like a play to me. Okay, so now let's go here. So what he's going to do, what Tariq Nasheed's going to do, is show a old video of our activists having a problem with African American very early in its inception. Check this out.
They're going to be very uncomfortable with it, but then they're going to have to start accepting it and respecting it, because so many people for so long they've accepted being able to. Now this is Steve Coakley. This is back in the 90s, where Steve Coakley was talking about how people use the term African American and how African American is kind of problematic. This is Steve Coakley from the 90s, all right? Hold on. Check out how he's breaking this down. All right, hold on.
So, let's see here. Let's continue.
Okay, the audio is a little janky, but we'll work through it, guys.
Hey, we're gonna look at the impossible. Hey, how about this one? How about you see those blacks go to the hotel, the Hyatt Regency Hotel, and declare themselves Black Americans? Yeah. So we call ourselves African Americans. Blacks call themselves.
Okay, so he's talking about white South Africans. I think he said they're in a hotel. I'm guessing, I don't know. It's kind of like shaky, the audio. Maybe in America, but they're calling themselves African American. Okay. This is what's going on. This is 1980 sometime. This is 1980 sometime, and he's speaking about white South Africans calling themselves African Americans. You know, it's impossible for them to ever call themselves black, right? Because black started over here. Black was tied to descendants of slavery in America. Okay. Black was tied to being foundational in America, and black was tied to Emancipation Proclamation. You dig? So anybody just can't take on that term without those three things being attached to it. But African American left the door open. So now we got white South Africans calling themselves Black African Americans, and it's in the paper. That's what he's holding up. He's upset that this is going on. Check this out.
African Americans. Yeah, they ran this. They went to the white hotel and declared they was black African Americans. Now you see that word African American? Very tricky. Now just think about it. A young white fella whose great-great-grandfather was born in Johannesburg, South Africa, who...
You heard that part. White person whose great-great-grandfather was born in Johannesburg, South Africa. So you're definitely talking about white people.
Father was born in South Africa, he was born in South Africa, who came to America, is an African American, he would say. Right. Hey, so we can't have a white African American and a black African American.
Oh, what do you say? We can't have a white African American and a black African American. That's why the term doesn't make sense. It leaves the door open. But black originally didn't. So in 2025, or originating back in 2016, 17, we closed the door again with the terms ADOS, Descendants of Freedmen. That's not a term, that's an actual real thing, really big. And FBA, Foundation of Black Americans. So we closed the door again. The door was open for how long? About 30 years. So we're closing that door. So when we make the argument that Elon Musk can be called African American if he came to America, and you guys say that's false, well, who looks dumb now? Your boy right here, this activist, is showing that they're being called, white people are being called. They came to America, like he said, these white South Africans came to America and they're being called African American in America. We got a super chat. Claude, Nelly, France, Amos, $10 super chat. Selenia's love. He said, just like the movie Terminator, John Connor was targeted for termination in America. Black Americans, FBA, have been targeted for exploitation. Delineation counters, prevents exploitation. 100%. Thanks for the lineage love. Check this out.
Can't have them both. So somebody's impersonating African American.
But he said we both can't be called white. We both can't be called African Americans. Somebody's impersonator, basically.
So we got to America is an African American, he would say. Right. Hey, so we can't have a white African American and a black African American. Can't have them both. So somebody's impersonating African American. So we got to deal with that question. That's something got to be dealt with up ahead.
We got to deal with that, and something got to be done. So don't get mad at us for dealing with it and doing something about it today. All right. So wait, there's more. There's more. I did some research you're never going to find on the internet in one place. I put all this together. There's more. But if you guys want to value this research, hint, hint, we got room for more super chats and cash apps. Hold on. My God. Give me a second. Let me delete some of these tabs.
Daddy, I said that.
All right, so now let's get down to it. So remember Stokely Carmichael, Kwame Ture, who was known for Black power. Black is synonymous with power, pride, and beauty. He would never change that position, right? He would stick with black. Well, let's see. So after Jesse Jackson introduced the term African American, and we're gonna go over that. We're gonna go over his reasons why he came about with that term and what was it to replace. I'm gonna give a spoiler alert. So Jesse Jackson indeed brought African American to replace Black, not to go along with it, to replace it. Okay, so for some strange reason, Jesse Jackson wanted to replace a name for us that's synonymous with power, pride, and beauty. Find that you and I both should find that very interesting. All right, so look. Anyway, there's a round table discussion with Stokely Carmichael. Okay, and let's see how his position changed, or if it didn't, on the topic African American versus Black, because Jesse Jackson just introduced African American, and look at all these liars today. When we say we're Foundation Black American, all these liars say, why do we need a new term? And then they go against it and say, nah, we don't need a new term. Let's stick with the old stuff. Well, guess what? African American was a new term at its time. And guess what? People were saying the same thing. Why African American? Let's stick with Black. Yeah, so this same conversation we're having now, and FBA is a new term, so therefore it's no good. Well, I'm going to bring you to a roundtable discussion when African American is only 1 year old, and they're having a roundtable discussion. Should it be a new term or no? And Stokely Carmichael is part of this roundtable. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, watch this. And I wonder what size Kwame Ture, like he said. So Kwame Ture is the name that he likes to go by. So Kwame Ture is part of this roundtable discussion. Is he backing Black, or has he changed his position and going along with African American introduced by Jesse Jackson? Let's find out.
Both Black and white publications generally supported the call to use African American.
Let me take that back. Let me rewind that.
Editorials in both Black and white publications generally supported the call to use African American.
So white media. So when I say this, now you know it's a fact. I said white media was behind propagating and pursuing the terminology for us, African American. They were 100% against Black, because Black, why? It represents pride, beauty, and power. So they wanted this new term to come about that don't have that history. They don't have that history of pride, power, and beauty. So white media were pushing hard African American over the public and to Black people. One more time. The media, newspaper, white, all is racist. White, this is Jim Crow, by the way. This is Jim Crow. Jim Crow 2.0. Right, because Jim Crow never ended. They just took the signs down and took the paperwork down, but it was being practiced. Housing discrimination never ended. Job discrimination never ended. Racism never ended. Systemic racism never ended. So this white country who refused to give us reparations or anything to counterbalance all of the years of discrimination and free labor, cheap labor, they are pushing the terminology African American over Black.
Editorials in both Black and white publications generally supported the call to use African American. The New York Times called it healthy archaeology, arguing that Blacks may now feel comfortable enough in their standing as citizens to adopt the family surname American, and their first name, African, conveys a pride and cultural heritage that all Americans cherish.
So now didn't it switch up? So now we got African Americans, Blacks, and Negroes.
Said the Chicago Defender, as the world continues to shrink, Americans who speak to their Africanness with the African...
So your Blackness is gone. So we're done speaking to our blackness, our unique experience in this country, and to remind white people of their dirty history in this country. We're gonna get rid of that and speak to our Africanness that we never had in this country before.
An American title will likely find the cultural, education, and economic relationship with other editorials in
Hey,
both.
family, by the way, that quote was from white people. That was Chicago Defender. That was a quote from the paper. Some white editor saying, yeah, man, African American, that fits these people more tight. Okay, let's go on.
Actually, it's our heritage, but
So this is the roundtable discussion. She's part of no, I'm sorry. This is the interview. Not yet.
well, naturally, it's our heritage, but all of us here are really educated and exposed to American life, so is that we really are. We have to dig back for this ancestry. I mean, I'm not an African. Well, naturally, it's our heritage, but
What's she say? I'm not an African. Look how old she is. And this interview is like 1980, 1989. Because remember, the whole discussion is about this new terminology that's supposed to cover and label us. Okay? So people are resenting it. She said, I'm not an African. Why is this term about? Like, what's up?
for this ancestry, I mean, I'm not an African. Well,
I'm not an African. And she's this old during 1980. You dig? Let's go. Okay, now here's the roundtable discussion featuring Kwame Ture.
You don't want to change from black.
No, well, I don't disagree that.
So no, I don't want to change to black. This is 1989, and African Americans being forced on them, and they having a public roundtable discussion how they're saying, I don't want a new term. I want to stick with black. So when you have people in 2025 who act like FBA is the new term, it's not the new term. FBA is the old term. African American is the new term. This is why they're saying, I don't want to change. I want to stay black. Listen.
Mr. Winter, you don't want to change from black.
No, well, I don't disagree that it is important for us to be cognizant of where we come from and the depth of our history that began before slavery. I just don't see the particular need in calling for renewal of the movement to leapfrog over the 400 odd years of history and of
yeah, he don't want to leapfrog of our unique precious history in America to look at what goes on in Africa that we know nothing about. We have no recollection of any history, any experience in Africa. So he's saying, I don't want to leapfrog over our unique, beautiful experiences in this country, 400 years to fantasize over something that never was.
proud accomplishments that we can point to and indeed need to reacquaint our children with here in this country first. So I believe that it is important to teach the children and to, in general, imbue Black America with a knowledge of where it comes from, but to focus this effort on claiming what is ours here as Americans, which is the country that we are citizens of and where we pay our taxes.
Okay, so again, this is 1989 in a roundtable discussion with Kwame Ture, and he said, nah, we're Black Americans. We're going to stand on business here. We got 400 years here. This is bona fide our place. We were about what happens over here. Watch this. Watch the rebuttal. Okay, I'm sorry. This is another FBA Black man, and he's going to speak to African American or Black. Watch this.
I haven't got time to change the rules. I've got to look at what is. I guess I'm more practical about this.
Okay, so he's speaking on Kwame Ture talking about, oh, America is capitalism. We got to get rid of capitalism. We need to change this country from capitalism to socialist. Okay, we need socialism. We need to share the resources. So he's like, yo, listen, I ain't got time to be changing the rules, bro. I got to speak to what's practical, what we can do tomorrow, today. Not some fantasy of changing America from a capitalist society to a socialist society. Like, dude, are you serious? Like, that's not even practical, is what he's saying.
I haven't got time to change the rules. I've got to look at what is. I guess I'm more practical about this. Maybe the ideal panacea is to change the rules and make it all a kind of equals socialistic state. But in the meantime, let's talk about what is. This is a capitalistic society. We are here. We are paying our taxes. We are doing work each and every day. And I think we have the right to participate. We have sent people to war since the revolutionary times and spilled our blood for America, from Crispus Attucks and the Revolutionary War all the way down through this Vietnam. So therefore, I want to get what you can construe as my piece of the action like everybody else has gotten. And it really annoys me to see people who haven't made this kind of contribution over the years come here and feel that they can claim.
Oh, that's a shot. He's talking to Kwame Ture, because, spoiler alert, Kwame Ture is holding on this new term, African American, after he championed and coined Black Power. Now he's shifting over to African American. And this brother said, what annoys me is that people like Kwame Ture, shots fired, coming over yesterday and trying to get into our politics.
Piece of the action like everybody else has gotten. And it really annoys me to see people who haven't made this kind of contribution over the years come here and feel that they can claim it and get it. And we have done that.
You have a response, sir?
Of course.
Okay, you heard that was very clear. What annoys him is that people from other countries, he's speaking about the Caribbean and Africa, who can come over here and claim what's ours. So he resents the terminology African American. Okay, so she asked Kwame Ture, does he want to rebut? He said, of course. Watch this.
And we have done that.
You have a response, sir?
Of course. In the first place, just because we're in just because we're in the capitalist system doesn't mean we must love it. We were made slaves. It doesn't mean the white.
I haven't got time to change.
Yeah, look, I ain't got time to change that.
Change the rules. I've got to look at what is. I guess I'm more practical about this.
See, he's like, yo, what's all this capitalist talk? That's what I'm trying to say. Family, these folks were not really team FBA. Team black, because we none of our ancestors was like, yo, no, capitalism is the problem. Yo, what we gotta do is we gotta change capitalism to socialism. You see what I'm saying? Because capitalism, people are greedy. You weren't talking that. This dude is coming with some foreign language similar to Marcus Garvey and trying to implant it on us, paste it on us.
Would show our suffering, our contribution over the years up.
Hold on. Let me shout out Lanita Goings, super chat, 1999. She's valuing this content, this research. She know that this you ain't gonna find all of this in one place on the internet. Okay, she says this was a ploy to replace the slavery narrative. Of course, white folks knew that at some point we're gonna claim reparations. We're gonna fight and want to be repaired monetarily and everything else. So, hey, let's call everybody African Americans. Let everybody worship Africa. If you worship Africa, there's no slave trade. There's no reparations. There's no U.S. chattel slavery, because your mind is back on Africa, not in America. As long as you're in America, you're going to always think about chattel slavery. You put your mind on Africa, you're thinking about what goes on in Africa. Okay, so thank you for the super chat. The lineage love, Lanita Goings. I think more people should find some value in this information and send some super chat love. Like the video, at the very least, like the video. The Cash App there. Again, this is research you're not going to get in one place. Watch this. And I'm not even nowhere near done.
Would show our suffering, our contribution over the years up until the year 1989 as to what we have done to give something to America. I think to try and leapfrog back and take youngsters in 1989 and tell them about our agrarian background in Africa is almost impossible at this point in time. The other problem with this is I listened to one gentleman on the thing say, well, during the campaign we talked about Michael Dukakis as being a Greek American. Well, Greek American pinpoints a country called Greece. African American does not pinpoint any country. It is a continent. And therefore, either you're going to play a game called European American or African American, or otherwise, again, we still haven't been able to refine ourselves down to where we come from, whether we come from Nigeria or Cuba, would show.
Okay, you see that? He cooked that term African American. That's a continent. What is that? So he's saying Jesse Jackson wanted to implement African American the same way Italians are called Italian American. By the way, we're talking about immigrant Italians or Ethiopian American immigrants, Puerto Rican Americans, whatever. Dominican Americans. Like these are all immigrants. These are recent immigrants. So he's saying, why would we want to take on a term that'll make us recent immigrants, like the recent immigrants? He said, nah. And he dated this interview. You heard him say 1989. He said, now in 1989, we're gonna redefine ourselves to become immigrants, basically. So let's get some Kwame Ture in this. All right, let's see what he got to say.
I would posit that that's not true. If you look again at the nations of Africa, if you look at...
So he's rebutting Kwame Ture. He said, nah, that's not true. All right, so FBA is like, yo, dude, what's up with you, man? You were Mr. Black Power, now you on some other shit now.
Posit that that's not true. If you look again at the nations of Africa, if you look at African people in every country of the world, especially in recent times, they essentially want things. They want products. They want the things that it's, at least up to this point, demonstrated that...
Okay, I know what he's rebutting. He's rebutting Kwame Ture capitalist rant. Oh, it's a capitalist country. Oh, no, the greedy, blah, blah, blah. And he's saying, ho. I recall in Africa, these guys want capitalist things. They want cars, and so that's what. So he's responding to the capitalist rant, sounding like what's that guy? The Bilderberger, the Illuminati, Alex Jones. So you got Kwame Ture here sounding like Alex Jones. Capitalism. It's a great country. It's gonna fall. America's gonna fall.
Only capitalism of Africa. If you look at African people in every country of the world, especially in recent times, they essentially want things. They want products. They want the things that it's, at least up to this point, demonstrated that only capitalism, with its imperfections and with its inequities, which hopefully some people believe can still be tamed, people want things. And I don't somehow see a worldwide Pan-Africanism as also spelling the death knell for capitalism at the same time. It seems inconsistent. There are too many people who want cars in Lagos, Nigeria. Last time I checked, the traffic jams are horrendous.
I don't think we...
You're like, yo, you see, you're like, yo, this Pan-African stuff y'all pushing is not realistic. It's not practical. And we're not going to waste time entertaining that. Like, yo, our fight is totally different. We don't need what you're talking about. We need all this anti-capitalist stuff. That's not our fight, my guy. Take that shit to Ghana. We got a whole different fight here.
One of the first organizations we had fighting for us is known as the Free African Society. The very first independent organization we had in this country was the church. It was known as the African Methodist Episcopalian Church.
Hold on. So you didn't know that in 1960 when you were championing Black Power? You didn't know that then? Come on now.
So from Africans, our oppressor has changed us to colored, to Negro, to this, to that. We understand it's a step. Coming to black had a powerful point, because the point was that we were oppressed because of this color of our skin, and this was racism. But this fight is not just a fight over the color of our skin, a fight.
No, it was never about the color of our skin. So this is what happens when you come over here as an immigrant and you start taking our terminologies and you start to like do the Garvey thing. Come up with your own answers and, you know, own solutions and don't check in with us. Bro, black was never a color thing for us, my guy. That's what you thought. Let's go back a little bit.
Africans, our oppressor has changed us to colored, to Negro, to this, to that. We understand it's a step. Coming to black had a powerful point, because the point was that we were oppressed because of this color of our skin, and this was racism. But this fight is not just a fight over the color of our skin.
So this is a justification for moving on from black to African American.
A fight for power is a fight for land. When Mr. Llewellyn speaks about power, he's talking about land. Our land is Africa. America is not our land. It belongs to the American Indians. And we have...
You heard that? You hear this guy? America is not our land. He sounds just like people of today. That's not your land. Where's your land? You're lost. You don't have a land. You're lost. You're lost. Yo, yeah. This is your boy. This is the guy that everybody championed at one point. Oh, he's a rider. This ain't your land, Black Americans. You niggas are lost. Okay? You don't have culture. This is exactly where he's going.
When Mr. Llewellyn speaks about power, he's talking about land. Our land is Africa. America is not our land. It belongs to the American Indians. And we have a right to stand and take a moral struggle with them. And we don't worry about people being for things. People want things is incorrect. The point is not to explain the world. The point is to change it. If the people want material things, then we have a responsibility to tell them.
This guy said the point is to change the world. When the hell did we ever say that? That's what I'm trying to say. People come over here and try to represent us, try to speak for us, and then change our talking points. We ain't never say we're trying to change the world. The hell, man? Yo, this is Babel. This is official Babel.
When black was coined, because I was somewhat in high school and I was on the listening end, as indeed you were doing.
So he's going to respond to Kwame Ture directly, and he's going to speak to the Black Power thing. Watch this.
Was coined because I was somewhat in high school and I was on the listening end, as indeed you were doing the talking. But it's always been my feeling that black was more than the recognition of where our blood comes from.
Uh-oh, you see? Cooked them. He said black being the color. Nah. That's not how we view black. Is that how you view black? When you was saying black power, you thought we was talking about dark skin, melanin expression? Let's go back.
When black was coined, because I was somewhat in high school and I was on the listening end, as indeed you were doing the talking. But it's always been my feeling that black was more than the recognition of where our blood comes from. It has a lot to do with the experience of people of color in a larger sense under colonialism, whether it was external colonialism, let's say in the Caribbean, or the internal colonialism that we had to deal with here in the United States, rather than simply a statement of Africa. Because the fact is, we have become...
So he just told you, when we were saying we're black, he said we would even extend it to the diaspora. He said that had nothing to do with Africa. He said when we were saying black, maybe amongst the diaspora. That's it. It had nothing to do with being from Africa or fighting for Africa. The diaspora at best, but nothing to do with Africa. So we got a $2 super chat. The latest love from Alex Berry says, thanks, Ron, for standing on FBA business. Salute to you. We got $10 super chat. Latest love in the building from First Class Citizen. He says, so Stokely Carmichael, after the name change, Scam African conversation became a tether. This is a classic example why we can't have immigrants involved in our political affairs. Interesting. Interesting comment. Thank you for the $10 super chat. The latest love is on fleek so far. All right, let's go on. Because they're checking Stokely Carmichael in real time. This almost like they're like A. Philip Randolph and W. Du Bois doing the whole Garvey Must Go campaign. Is like they doing the Stokely Carmichael Must Go campaign.
Colonialism, let's say in the Caribbean, or the internal colonialism that we had to deal with here in the United States, rather than simply a statement of Africa. Because the fact is, we have become more than simply descendants of Africa. We have created a lot.
He sound like Tariq Nasheed, don't he? We have become more than just descendants of Africa. He's speaking to our ethnogenesis. This is 1989 in front of Stokely Carmichael's face, calling him out like, bro, we're not what you're saying we are. Like, I don't know where you got that from. We're more than that.
Have become more than simply descendants of Africa. We have created a lot of what America is in our own image. When you talk about this cultural-based offensive, I would rather see us claim American culture. When black was coined,
I would rather see us claim America or American culture. Right in his face, all this African talk you talking, bro. Take your ass to Ghana and you do that with Nkrumah. But we're not going nowhere. We're staying here for the long haul. We're fighting here, and we're African American. I mean, we're black. We're black. All the African stuff, you take that to Ghana. But we're black here, and we want to fight for Black American culture.
I would rather see us claim American culture when black was coined.
I would rather see us claim American culture. All right, so we got Claude Neely. Let me get the name. Hold on. Let me get the name. Let me get the name right. Okay, so we got Claude Neely Francis Amos. Back in the super chat, $10. Lineage love. Okay. He says the FBA Renaissance helps FBA rediscover ourselves. We're not generic Africans but we're not generic Africans, but a different and unique people. Not only different from Africans, but different and unique from any group in the world. Facts. Been making that same claim as well.
Coined because I was somewhat in high school and I was on the listening.
Okay, so he addressed him like, yo, how you go from Black Power to we're African American and everything's about Africa, when Black Power was a chant everything about Black America and at the very most the diaspora, but nothing about Africa is what he was saying.
I would rather see us claim American culture, which is not European culture.
This is the continuation because Stokely Carmichael kept watering down American culture as white man culture. You will see a lot of people talk that they're not American. That's white man. So he said, no. So this is the continuation of what he was saying last time about I'll rather claim American culture, which is not white culture, which you're saying, Kwame Ture.
I would rather see us claim American culture, which is not European culture. America does not mean white. American doesn't mean white. It means a combination of European and African and Asian and the rest of the cultures of the whole world. This is what America is. And if it denies the fact of what is African within it, then it is up to us to continue to assert that no, America does not mean white. America means a melting and a combination of things.
I think that's
Isn't that exactly what Tariq Nasheed said when I played this clip? That we're a mixture of this and that. He was speaking to our ethnogenesis. This guy in 1989 delineating, speaking to our ethnogenesis. All right, let's go.
Jamaica, the white man dropped you in Jamaica and brought you to Mississippi. Right. So you don't define yourself by...
Okay, now look at Kwame Ture is doing that same old argument. Nah, we all from the slave ships, the same slave ships. In Jamaica and put you in Trinidad, like he's taking that position now.
Jamaica, the white man dropped you in Jamaica and brought you to Mississippi. Right. So you don't define yourself by the enemy?
No, I define myself as the fighting places where I'm at, not where I used to be or where I thought I was.
So if you're fighting on a slave ship, so if you're fighting on a slave ship, we fought on the slave ships. We fought on the slave ships. Did you call yourself a warder?
And you're still fighting in 1989, right here in New York City.
And until Africa is free, we won't be free.
all right. One final practical.
Right here in New York City.
And until Africa is free, we won't be free.
All right.
See, he's talking this African shit. Until Africa is free, we won't be free. He's yelling that shit. 54 countries. Until 54 countries are free, we won't be free. That's what he was arguing. And we're like, yo, what are you talking about, bro? The civil rights movement was not about freeing Africa. What are you talking about? Like he's completely lost. Some would say bought, compromised, and he's on his African American bullshit that Jesse Jackson is pushing. Okay, but he's clearly lost the message. What we're doing over here in America. What we do in America is not about freeing Africa. Never was, never been. All right. We like, yo, take your ass to Ghana and you go free Africa. And how successful was he? Little. He didn't. It didn't happen.
One final practical note. Mr. Winter, you're the only editor here.
Mm-hmm.
How should the media deal with...
Hey, Ekeen, brother, it's 9:42. You got 3 minutes. You got until 9:45. To click that link up top, or somebody got to get you up out of here. They got to block you. All right. You said the channel is dividing, so click the link and explain. I will add you to the content, my guy. So click the link, and because right now I'm just showing history and giving commentary, factual, historical commentary. You dig? So click that link. You got to 9:45, or you got to get. Matter of fact, you got to 9:44 to click that link, or somebody got to get you up out of here, my guy.
With this, as you can see, there's a debate over the issue. What about newspapers, television, books, magazines? I mean, should they continue to use Haki said?
Okay, so now he's going to explain how foundational Black American today can replace what we don't want, which is African American, because it's too confusing. It serves as an ethnonym, which is exclusive, and it also serves as a racial term, which is inclusive. It's a contradictory by nature. It's a contradiction by nature. So he's going to explain how it works. Check this out.
He was going to continue to use both. I mean, what kind of guidance do you think should apply there?
Well, speaking immediately for newspapers, and again, while I don't represent directly the Wall Street Journal here, I can tell you that they have discussed.
Hey, E. King, you got 1 more minute, my guy. So you might as well get your stuff in now because you're out of here if you don't click that link.
This issue recently and concluded that they will wait and watch to take the general standard of what comes to be common usage among.
So you see that? He said that the governments don't take a position on what Black Americans call themselves. He said they wait and watch and see what the consensus is amongst, or the census is amongst Black Americans. And then because watch this, why?
Black people in general, as at least we'll call it now.
Jamaica, the white man dropped you in Jamaica and brought you to Mississippi.
Yeah. So that's all. He said the government don't take a position because they don't want to offend anybody. So what they do is they sit back and see what we want to call ourselves, and they adhere to that.
That they have discussed this issue recently and concluded that they will wait and watch to take the general standard of what comes to be common usage among Black people in general, as at least we'll call it now, and moreover among academics and political and social leaders and that sort of thing. And if a consensus appears to emerge, then style changes will probably be forthcoming at our paper. And I believe, in fact, the New York Times has said similar things, which is about all they can do, because to them, it's, well, there's something going on there in the community and we don't really know what to make of it. All they want to know is that they really don't want to offend anyone in the end. If it becomes apparent that everybody wants this, then they'll likely go along, although they will use.
If it's apparent that everybody wants this, then likely they'll go along with it. It's that simple. FBA ain't going nowhere, and the government steps back, and if they see if it appears like this is what the masses want to be called, they go along with it and they make it happen.
Use people of color in the media as sounding boards to. All
right, Alex, you in the building. What's up, man? What's dividing about this channel?
Hey, I'm Ekene. How you doing?
Good. Very great.
Yeah, good. So number one, when you invite somebody in your channel and you give them time, you might understand that not everybody take that, okay? I'm just
wait, not everybody what? Wait, hold on.
No, what I'm saying is that not everybody would like that.
Like what?
By telling me you have 2 minutes.
Yeah, it's my channel. No. Okay. First of all, let me mute you, bro. You're not going to come on my channel and dictate the rules. I could have gave you 30 seconds. I gave you 3 minutes.
Let me address what I came here for, then I can leave your channel, okay?
Before no. Dude, you joined my content. I set the narrative. You don't come here and start babbling. Yeah, the entitlement.
I'm not here.
Okay, okay. So wait, stop unmuting yourself. I'll let you know when to mute yourself. But what you're not going to do is come to my channel, my content, and then tell me what you're going to do. That's not how that works. You're going to speak to what I want you to do, or you got to get off. Yeah, all right. I narrate my channel. You don't do that. Okay. You comply or you fly. Real simple. Now, you're going to answer this question first, because I read what you wrote. You said this channel is dividing. Speak to that comment only, and don't babble. Unmute and speak to how this channel is dividing. So now all of a sudden he don't know how to unmute. Dude, listen, man. All right, the show will continue. We're gonna wait on him. So as you can see, family, Kwame Ture jumped ship, right? All of a sudden it's all about Africa. And this is 1989. This ain't too far from Jim Crow. You dig? And be like, yo, what are you saying? And you see Black Americans openly resented what he was pushing in his face. This anti-capitalist rhetoric. We like, what the hell's going on here? Okay. So when he figure out how to answer that question, how this channel is divisive, we'll let him speak. But check this out. Let's go into this real quick. Real quick. Let's go into.
Okay, I am back right now.
All right.
If you're ready.
Yeah, Harry, you got it. Make it quick though. Let's go. I got a video to make.
You ready?
Yeah, go ahead. How is this channel divisive or dividing?
Let me say this to you. I'm an African investor, and I work with a lot of African Americans in doing business both in the United States and outside the United States.
Yeah, but how is this channel divisive?
The reason why it's divisive is that you are on this channel telling African Americans that
what is an African American? Wait. What is an African American? You're making up terms coming over here.
Okay. The division our description of African Americans are Africans, descendant of Africans that are here in America.
No. Well, I'm not speaking to them. No. So that's not my audience. I'm not speaking to Africans that are in America.
That is not what I.
Okay, listen, bro. I'm not. Well, you just lied. You said I'm speaking to African Americans. I'm not speaking to African Americans. I'm speaking to Black Americans that have a lineage to U.S. chattel slavery. Okay, that's what I'm speaking to. I'm not speaking to Africans that's in America like yourself. This message ain't for you.
Okay, let me go back. Who I said you're speaking to is exactly who you just described right now that you're speaking to Americans of African slave descendants. Yeah.
But I'm not speaking to them. I'm speaking to people who are descendants of U.S. freedmen, not Africa.
Okay, that's the same people I'm talking.
It's not the same thing. No, look, what country are you from in Africa?
Okay.
Hold on.
Okay, you know what?
No,
let's
look,
put it this
what
way.
country? Wait, no, let's put it this way. What country are you from in Africa?
I'm Nigerian.
Right. I'm not speaking to no Nigerians. I'm not speaking for. I'm not speaking. Right. Well, you said that when you defined it. I'm not speaking to nobody that comes from any.
No, that's not what I did.
I got it. Well, I'm making it clear. Let me make it clear. I'm not speaking to nobody from the continent of Africa. I'm not even speaking to people from the Caribbean. I'm specifically speaking to people.
And I know.
But you're confusing the chat though. So I want the chat to know who I'm speaking to and who I'm not. I'm not speaking to nobody from Africa, the continent. I'm not speaking from nobody from the Caribbean. My audience I'm speaking to, the ears I want to hear this message directly are people that can trace their lineage to U.S. chattel slavery. That is this message is for them. Okay? That's why I'm speaking to about American things. I'm not speaking about Africa, what goes on in Trinidad and Tobago. I'm speaking about what happened over here in America that directly affects Foundation Black Americans first and foremost. All right, but anyway, all right.
Okay, you want to use the word FBA? Okay, let's use that because I'm not here for. I don't think we're here for semantics.
Yeah, about FBA. No.
Let me use.
Yeah, we're here to straight.
Let me
Okay.
call the name FBA.
Okay, no. All right, you know what, bruh? One more time, I'm gonna get you out of here. This ain't semantics. This is a preferred term. So the whole video was about we were Black before African American. The whole video is about the origins and why was Black replaced by African American. So you're the one playing semantics, all right? So African American was a new term to replace Black. We're repositioning, we're reinstituting Black. Okay, because African American was all inclusive to people like you and white people from South Africa, not Black. Black is synonymous with pride, power, and beauty.
I have no idea where you're bringing this from. That is
okay, I got you.
That's the confusion I'm talking about. That's why I say you're confused.
Yeah, right. Yeah, goodbye. Yeah, if I'm confusing you, cool. As long as my lineage are not confused, we're good. All right, so let's deal with ethnonyms. Okay, so the ethnonym African American was broadly popularized in the late 1980s by civil rights leader Jesse Jackson. So now I'm giving you guys some history. In 1988-89, Jackson and other Black leaders urged replacing the term Black with African American to instill a sense of heritage and cultural linkage to Africa. So they didn't try to use African American alongside of Black. They urged to replace Black. Now, keep in mind, Black was synonymous with beauty, pride, and power. Why would you want to replace a term like that? That's like the best term on earth, you would think, right? Okay, so this is a quote from Jesse Jackson. He says, "To be called African American has cultural integrity," as though Black didn't. He says, "Every ethnic group in this country has a reference to some land base, some historical culture base." He says, arguing that Black Americans, we deserve a hyphenated identity akin to Italian American or Irish American. So he's comparing us to two immigrant groups, which is crazy. Okay, so now watch this. This push was quickly embraced by 1990. Quickly embraced. There was no debate. White America was like, yep, we'll go with that. So this push was quickly embraced by 1990. The term had gained currency as the term of choice for many Blacks. In media and everyday use, it was pushed on us. It was on applications and media, like you said, in media and papers. When it comes to our history, it was no longer Black History Month. It was now African American History Month. So it's kind of forcing us. How do I know? Major newspapers, academics, and even President George H.W. Bush. Excuse me? Who? That's why he's in this picture, by the way. Hello? I said major newspapers, academics, and even President George H.W. Bush in a 1989 eulogy adopted African American. So one of the most racist presidents in American history said African American is a better term than Black. Okay, so this reflected, so of course this moved more rapidly in mainstream vocabulary. The damn president is like, oh, so now we got Donald Trump who's saying, nah, foundational Black American is more tight, more fitting, and explaining why. He's saying that we are foundational to this country. We help build, we played a significant part in building this country. So there's no new term. So the foundation Black America is not a new term. Black was be Black American. You heard Dr. King say it in 1960s. This was you heard Malcolm X say it in 1960s. This was a term that predated African American and everyday usage. Okay. Jesse Jackson urged the replacement. We're saying we're good. We're going back because African American is confusing. It's too confusing. It's making people believe that they're tied to our unique experience in this country and that they're entitled to things set aside for us specifically. Okay, so let me go. This is so his intent was to give descendants of U.S. slaves a name that emphasized ancestry rather than color, right? This is the explanation. African American symbolized an ethnic heritage and pride and forebear struggle, right? So that's the excuse. Now let's talk about the U.S. government and its role for African American. Okay, so the U.S. government's racial classifications as of the 1970s still use the Black. So when they came up with the African American thing, the racial classification was still Black and even Negro as official labels, right? Only in 1997, right? So this is about 8 to 10 years after Jesse Jackson. Only then did the Office of Management and Budget, OMB, update federal standards to formally add African American alongside Black. Hey, stop. Hey, stop. Alongside Black. So at that time, the category was defined as Black or African American, which meant a person. Listen what it meant. So on the OMB forms, right? How they used it, Black or African American, it meant a person having origins in any of the Black racial groups of Africa. What the hell is a racial group of Africa? They're just making this stuff up. So the OMB explicitly allowed terms like Haitian or Negro as possible descriptors for this category. reflecting both the new inclusive term and legacy terminology. In short, Jackson's 1988 initiative preceded federal adoption. So the popular uses came first, and the government's racial category was updated nearly a decade later to mirror the community's preference. That's a lot. You put it in papers, you put it on forms. What choice did we have? That wasn't a preference. Okay, so it says the reason for the official change was to keep pace with evolving social identity by the late 1990s. So why are people mad at the evolving social identity of today? So it says African American had entered common uses to refer to Black Americans. You see that? So government forms and the census were adjusted to use the contemporary culturally respectful term. So it happened, then it can happen again. So for example, it says the 2000 US Census checkbox was labeled Black, African, or Negro, signaling the transition to the new wording while acknowledging older terms. There's the problem. You ready for the problem? Despite its intent, African American can be ambiguous because it is used in two overlapping ways. Broad racial category, in official context like the census or government surveys, Black or African American is a racial category that includes anyone with ancestral origins in sub-Saharan Africa who lives in America. Under this broad definition, a recent immigrant from Nigeria or Jamaica is counted as African American racially because they are Black in America, they say. All right. So the U.S. Census and FBI crime statistics, oh, here we go, for instance, classify people as Black African American simply based on African lineage, having origins in any of the Black racial groups of Africa. No such thing as that. You mean countries of Africa, tribes, regardless of whether their family has been in the U.S. for generations or arrived recently. So there's no distinction between us on forms and stats, databases, census, consensus between us and a recent African Caribbean immigrant. There's no way to differentiate us. Okay. So in this sense, African American functions as a pan-ethnic racial label, interchangeable with Black in data collection. Right. And then the other sense is being used as a so it's very broad and inclusive, and then is used as a specific ethnic lineage. Right. In cultural and historical discourse, African American often means the distinct ethnicity of Black people with deep generational roots in the United States, i.e., descendants of enslaved Africans brought to North America. So Jesse Jackson's usage had its intent. Describing the heritage group born from American slavery, many use African American to signify those who trace their ancestry to the freedmen of the U.S. South, as opposed to Black immigrants. In fact, the Census Bureau itself has acknowledged this narrower meaning in planning the 2010 census outreach. It defined African Americans specifically as Black people born in the United States, distinct from Black immigrants from the Caribbean or Africa. From that perspective, a Black immigrant from, say, Ghana might be racially African American, but not culturally or ethnically African American in the lineage sense. This dual usage, watch this. This is the conclusion. This dual usage causes confusion. Some Americans use African American to strictly mean Black U.S. descendant non-immigrant, while others use it universally for all Black people in America. Because of this ambiguity, debates often arise. For example, should a Somali-born U.S. citizen be called African American? Literally, yes. They are an African person in America, like the tether on the phone just said. But many Black Americans whose families survived slavery feel that African American belongs to our unique historical experience, whereas someone whose parents voluntarily immigrated and who has a specific national heritage like Nigerian American or Jamaican American has a different cultural identity. Surveys have shown the Black and African American in different settings. Notably, by 2021, 58% had no preference, and the remainder were roughly evenly divided on preferring one term or the other. The key is that context matters. African American can either emphasize a historical lineage or function as a general racial descriptor. This ambiguity set the stage for new terms that aim to pinpoint lineage more clearly, such as foundational Black American. Okay, so the confusion set the stage to pinpoint lineage more clearly, such as foundational Black American. Okay. Are we all right? Are we rocking and rolling? Does it make sense? Okay. So check this out. So it says for third or fourth generation Americans, we're talking about immigrants from Africa and the Caribbean, either or both. Third and fourth of their generations in America, their parental birthplaces were U.S. So Black descendants of slavery and those of an earlier immigrant wave would all appear simply as U.S. born, Negro, or Black. In other words, before 1980, there was no direct question about ancestry or ethnic origin for native born Black people before 1980. All were aggregated as Black with no routine method to separate. For example, a Black person of Haitian descent, if the family had been in the U.S. for 2 generations from a Black person descended from Alabama freedmen, the federal data treated race and ethnicity in broad strokes, typically not capturing specific lineage for Black American in regular counts. All right. So before these recent developments, there was effectively no way on standard forms to tell Black subgroups apart. Well, tell Black Americans apart from recent immigrants from Africa or the Caribbean. Okay, all were simply Black, not Hispanic, in most federal statistics. Okay, over time, pressure for accuracy and fairness, especially for civil rights monitoring and allocation of resources, led to more granularity. First through a separate ancestry question, and later in the combined race origin question. So that's us, where we were pushing like, hey, ho, this got to stop. Okay, so the U.S. Census Bureau even acknowledged that treating the entire Black population as one monolith was problematic. Okay, so their 2010 outreach strategy deliberately segmented Black Americans into 3 communities: U.S. born African Americans, African immigrants, and Afro-Caribbeans to improve engagement. This reflects an understanding that U.S. lineage Black Americans, you see how they're using us Black Americans to, you see how the term changes from African American to Black American. See, if they're using African American, you still won't know what they're talking about. So it says, understanding that U.S. lineage Black Americans have a distinct identity and community within the broader African diaspora. Okay, so now in the 2010s and later, discourse around lineage-based identity for Black Americans gave rise to the term foundational Black Americans, popularized by Tariq Nasheed around 2018. So FBA is an ethnonym intended to specifically denote Black Americans who are descendants of slaves in America or slavery in America on American soil. All right. So they even quote Tariq Nasheed's official website and how he defined FBAs, Foundation of Black Americans. And there's a quote here: "The proud descendants of the Black men and women who endured and survived one of the greatest atrocities in human history, American slavery." Okay. These ancestors built the United States from the ground up, laying the foundation for the nation's economic, political, and cultural development. Okay. So there you go. They don't say nothing else about nobody else. No 3 stars. That is the definition. 3 stars is something else, but the definition is the definition of an FBA. Okay. So let's go down. So crucially, FBA is presented as a lineage, not an organization. The lineage has no formal membership or leadership hierarchy. Foundation of Black Americans, FBA is not a group or organization, and there is no designated leader of FBA. All right. Foundation of Black American is a lineage-based designation referring to the 40-something million Black people in the U.S. who are direct descendants of the enslaved freedmen. Okay, there you go. So why introduce FBA? Advocates argue that traditional terms like African American have become too broad or diluted or confusing, right? That this set the wave to introduce terms like ADOS and FBA to add more straightening of who is who, right? So we were black and proud, we were black and beautiful, and we were black and powerful. And then somebody said, that ain't us no more. We're gonna be African American and something else. Black and beautiful, black pride, black power. That wasn't good enough. We need to drop that and become something that we have no ties to, no recollection, no experience, no history, nothing. We're going to be African American, the entire continent. A hyphenated word that is similar to recent immigrants like Italian immigrants and Irish immigrants. Those were Jesse Jackson's 2 case points that he wanted to be like. Recent immigrants, no longer black and beautiful, black and powerful, black and prideful, black and proud, which is interesting. He urged that we change it to African American, and George Bush and the American government and media said, good idea, and they went to work. In 1 year, they had the whole country saying African American. So 30 years of saying we're black and powerful, black and proud, black and prideful, black and or having black pride, black beauty, all that stuff. In 30 years, that was erased in 1 year. White America said, let's get rid of that shit. These people are too proud to be who they are. It's impossible to get them to go against their own initiatives, their own narratives. You dig? We need to make them something other than. We need to detach them from being proud, empowered, and beautiful. All right. So the tether was, I kicked him off because he first told me what the rules are to my channel. He's gonna tell me how he's gonna talk to me and what I can't do. Okay, I'll let that slide. Then he's using like he's clearly not watching the show because we're talking about black is tied, it's synonymous with beauty, empowerment, and to be something to be proud of, not ashamed of. He comes on here and calls us Africans in America. Okay, so he's clearly either not reading the temperature in the room on purpose or he's being deceptive and disingenuous from the door. I mean, the stage was set that we clearly prefer Black American, Foundation Black American, right? So then he finally got it and then said, okay, you're playing semantics. So you think this whole live broadcast about playing semantics? I think I clearly demonstrated real people checking Stokely Carmichael in his face that no, we're black. We're black. Nah, that African American stuff, that capitalism stuff, nah. I hear what you're saying, but that ain't us. Take that shit back to Africa somewhere. In his face. Then I showed you in the 2000s, the early 2000s, black people saying that other immigrants from Africa and the Caribbean are not black, i.e. Barack Obama. So I showed you the argument. Then I showed somebody who called himself a doctor, a Pan-Africanist, was even admitting, hey, there was an argument about whether Obama's black or not, coming from Kenya. But he's saying this is semantics. So when Jesse Jackson introduced African American as replacement, was that semantics? Nah. Like we never let go of being called black. And that's why today, if you ask an ADOS, if you ask them, hey, what are you? What do you call yourself? You might get African American, you might get Black American. But hold on. How is that even a decision? How is that even? When black did not get the same press, the same stamps, the same highlights, the same recognition as African American, it should be a blowout. You would think most of us would just say we're African American. Damn near none of us call ourselves African American in public. Okay, when you hear music, when TV show, black. First black astronaut, first black this, first black that. Black on black crime, not African on American crime. So, logical common sense says you can't be two whole continents or a country plus a continent we've never been to. Right. That's like the most disrespectful term ever. So we're going to be a whole continent and we know nothing about the continent. No culture, no heritage, no language, no tribal. We don't know nothing there. Some of us never been there and never will go. Like there's no urge. There's no sense of like how with people take a shahada and they join Islam. There's a pilgrimage they would do in Mecca. That's something encouraged for all Muslims that take shahadas, the Eastern way to worship Islam. It's encouraged to pilgrimage to Mecca. There's no encouragement for any Black American to go to Africa as a pilgrimage. Oh boy.
Daddy? Daddy?
Yes. Okay. Yeah, get your hat. Oh, you got it. Okay. Yeah, so, but I know y'all gonna look at Kwame Ture a little different now. That dude went from Black Power to white capitalism, change the world, move to Africa. Yo, what part of the memo that I didn't get, that my answers didn't get, where we're gonna get rid of capitalism, change the world, and move to Africa? We were black, and then Jesse Jackson urged white people. He went to white people to say, help me push this African American thing on the nation and on Black Americans. And it still didn't really work because we're calling ourselves both. So it never really replaced it. So mission failed. And it double failed because we're saying get rid of African American altogether and to just stick with Black American, Foundation Black American. Foundation Black American descendants of slavery. How about that? That's what we're pitching for. That's what we're pushing for. So, damn. Hold on. Hold on. I think I had a clip. I think I had a clip. Yeah, it's not there. Let's try here. No, I know it's on one of these channels. I get it. Go back. I get it. Oh. Okay. Let me see if it's on this channel. I found it. All right. Okay, I got it. I got it. Little soundbite.
Okay. Like so that's you have to have a category of people. Like I don't even understand how we exist here. Like you can have somebody who is a Haitian American, somebody who's a Nigerian American, somebody who's a Ghanaian American, and we just get black. No, we've been here for anybody. We are ADOS. We have our own category too. Sure. And when you all call, if somebody says I'm a Haitian American, I don't have no problem with that. If somebody says, hey, I'm Nigerian American, I ain't got no problem with that. If somebody says, hey, my roots go all the way back to Zimbabwe or whatever, I ain't got no problem with that. But if I say I'm ADOS, all of a sudden people say I'm divisive. Why? Y'all have been saying who y'all are and taking pride in who y'all are, but I guess got to be blackity, blackity, black, black, black. That don't even make no sense no more for everything to just be black. No, everybody has a lineage and everybody should be proud of wherever they come from. Whatever your contribution is to your country, where you come from, whatever your traditions are, you should be proud of that. Be proud of who you are. But don't tell us we can't be proud of who we are and what.
Okay.
Like you, I'm 70% quote unquote African, 30% white, European, right?
I salute. That's fine.
You can't tell me that I'm just African though. See,
but look, you picking and choosing.
No, I'm saying I'm both. I'm both
my
things.
girl.
Like when you talk about when you think about the fact that slave women did not have control over their own bodies.
You're right.
Right?
Yes.
You know that you are going to, that's why we run the gamut all the way from as light as me to really dark skin. We run the gamut. That's why. So it's people want us to kind of, I don't understand the need of somebody needing me to be African. I'm an amalgamation. That's what it means to be American. That's what it means to be ADOS in this country. We are an amalgamation of different things. We are unique. So yeah, some of our ancestors came over here, were brought over here, chattel slavery. That's true. Some of them intermarried. Some of them some of them come from women who were the victims of. All of that is our history. That's what we're saying. We're not saying that like African slavery, like slavery isn't a part of that, and Africans weren't enslaved. We will tell you about slave revolts. We will tell you that we built this country, right? We are proud of that. So like, yes, we are different people. Melanin and kinky hair is not the thing that binds us. That's not lineage. These are traits. These are physical traits. That's not lineage. And when we talk even about reparations, Japanese people got reparations in this country.
They did.
Right? But not all Asian people. We understand the distinction between these different groups. And so the Chinese people, not even all Asians got it, right? It was just the people who had been interned. So what we're saying is you have to acknowledge these differences. That's not a reason to hate on you. That's not a reason to be mean to you. That's not a reason to just to be xenophobic towards you, but we are distinctly different groups of.
I don't know what, you heard Tariq explain it. You heard Yvette Carnell explain it. I don't know what other, you heard how I explain it. I don't know what other way to explain it where you think it's confusing. It's real simple. Confusing is African American. It serves two purposes. It's exclusive at the same time inclusive. It's specific and then it's unspecific. Can't have that. Thought this Black American, that is completely exclusive. Completely exclusive. You need to have some lineage to U.S. chattel slavery, period. No confusion, man. Very, very exclusive. It's not all inclusive. We don't give a damn about your African ancestry if you have not went through U.S. chattel slavery. I got a clip. I think Tariq was breaking that down to somebody. What's up?
We were black.
Hey, bro.
And then Jesse Jackson
We got a
urged.
rinse going wild, bro.
You got to mute your background. It's an echo.
I got you. I just
Help me push.
we got a wrench going wild.
Oh, now another one.
Yeah, pennies. 02 pennies. 02 pennies.
Okay. All right. Let me see. Just trying to get it. Yeah, it's always one person that's going to rogue out, that's going to crash out. That's who knows? Maybe he's part of that troll farm from Putin.
Bro, you cooking tonight. That's all it is too. You bring in a lot of strange people like this.
Wait. So what were they saying about the trademark? All right, let's get into that. So look, as a matter of fact, hey Pennies, you don't have no wrench anymore, so they're gonna time you out and cook you. So do me a favor, click the link. Let's talk about the trademark, my guy. I guarantee you know nothing about trademarks. Click that trademark and look at school today. All right. Matter of fact, I got some audio just waiting on you. Now he said it right. Check this out. I'm ready.
Well, if you have a patent to it, that means you are the leader.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, sir. Yes, it does.
You lying don't make it true, sir. No, it don't.
Sir, if you patent something, that means you claim ownership of it.
No.
Right?
You can't own a lineage. That don't make sense.
Sir, if you patent FBA, that means you own the lineage. You made the word up, you own it, thus owning a lineage.
So, by your definition, I'd have a trademark on a product with the name FBA. I don't own the lineage, sir. You can't own lineages, sir. I know you don't know. I know you're remedial and you don't know better. But, sir, using your logic, there are several owners of African American because there's 2,000 trademarks of the word African American. So do 2,000 people own the African American lineage?
Well, if you have a patent to it, that means you are the leader.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, sir.
Hold
Yes,
on.
it does.
You lying don't make it true,
Hold
sir.
on. Let me play the whole thing.
No, it don't.
Sir, if you patent something, that means you claim ownership of it.
No.
Right?
You can't own a lineage. That don't make sense.
Sir, if you patent FBA, that means you own the lineage. You made the word up, you own it, thus owning a lineage.
So, by your definition, I'd have a trademark on a product with the name FBA. I don't own the lineage, sir. You can't own lineages, sir. I know you don't know. I know you're remedial and you don't know better. But, sir, using your logic, there are several owners of African American because there's 2,000 trademarks of the word African American. So do 2,000 people own the African American lineage?
Well, technically speaking, yes and no.
2,000
you own
owners.
The word. Technically speaking, sir. Right?
No. Do those people own the word African American? Again, there's 2,000 people.
Yes.
Then why do everybody else use it?
Because they made it popular like you're doing, Mr. Leader.
Right. Well, you saying leader doesn't make it true.
Hey, Pennies, click the link, man, so you get educated on trademarking things, okay? Or anybody who agrees with this troll calling about trademarks, click the link. Let's have a brief discussion about trademarking things, but don't try to determine the rules. You're going to come over here and be regulated, okay?
Sir. There's patents on the word Nigeria. There's patents on the word Puerto Rican for different products. There's no owner of Puerto Ricans. You know what I'm saying? What you're saying is falling flat. Not working. That's why this narrative that I own the patent, which I don't own a patent, I own a trademark for a product with the name FBA on it. So that's why this narrative always falls flat. Are you guys frustrated because this narrative just never took off and people ain't come?
Sir, let's talk.
All right. So let me get into it real briefly. Okay. So trademark and FBA is not equal to owning people, a lineage, or an identity. Okay. A trademark protects branding, not people, fool. And he said patent. Like these dummies be saying patent. Like they don't understand the difference between a patent and a trademark. All right. So before I do that,
about your African lineage, because you are African.
Everybody's African.
No, don't try to play the out of Africa trick with me, sir. You are an African American.
Everybody has African DNA.
Yours is more recent than everyone, right?
No.
Yes.
Nobody in my family has been in Africa for centuries. It's not recent, sir.
Well, on the grand scale of the world, it is recent.
No.
400 years is recent on the grand scheme of humankind.
No, because there was an ethnogenesis. So everybody came from Africa at one point. You don't call Jamaicans Afro or African Jamaicans. They're just Jamaicans, and they've been here around the same time as us. Why don't you call them African Jamaicans?
Well, they don't deny their African roots.
Then why don't you call them? I don't deny it either. I just said I have African roots like everybody on the planet. So why don't you call them African Jamaicans? Why are you trying to Africanize me, sir?
Well, I can understand where you're going with that. I get that. Yes, I understand.
All right. So now let me. So a guy called on my show and brought up the trademark thing too. This bush meat dude. Listen to this. Hey, stop. I'll do it. Go over there. Common sense.
And then you could go, I'm sourcing up. I just want to source up real quick to show you. 2 is strictly a lineage. It's not an organization. It's not a group, et cetera, et cetera. It is strictly a lineage, right? So that's statement number 1. And then statement number 2 is I own the trademark to foundational Black Americans. Are those 2 statements reconcilable?
No.
Yes. Yes,
No,
they
it's
are.
not.
Why would you wait, Fred?
No, it's not.
What?
It's not reconcilable.
Stick up in unbiased. Let me just read this real quick, and then
it's common sense.
And then you could go. I'm sourcing up. I just want to source up real quick to show the FBAs that it is not just a lineage, right? So it says here, foundational Black Americans, trademark details, status 630, new application, serial number has it right there, word mark, foundational Black Americans, status date, March 16th, 2022, filing date March 13th, 2022. So it's probably been approved by now. I don't know, right?
Yeah.
It says here, statements, disclaimer with predetermined text, foundational Black Americans, goods and services, advertising and marketing, stream audio-visual and audio-visual material via a global computer network, streaming of video material on the internet, video streaming services via the internet, featuring independent films and movies, international class, advertising, business management, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Class codes, blah, 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 has all the relevant details. We're going to keep going down. Current trademark owners. What does it say right there?
That's smart. Tariq Nasheed. Yeah, that's smart.
So it's not just a lineage. That is
okay.
a lie.
Okay, wait. Okay,
that's a lie.
Okay, hold on. Okay, so he just 14'd me. Like he tiptoe twist, trolled, and tapped out. Okay, yeah. Now, a trademark protects branding, not people. So when Tariq Nasheed trademarked FBA, what he protected, if valid and enforced, is the use of the term in specific commercial context for things like media, merchandise, events, or content branding. What a trademark does not do, it does not give ownership over a lineage. It does not grant authority over who is FBA and who isn't. It does not make someone the leader of a people. It does not create or erase ancestry. You cannot trademark an ethnic group, a bloodline, a population, a historical experience. Okay. If that were possible, then Jewish would be owned by one rabbi because that's trademark. Italian American will belong to one family, trademark. Black American will already be privatized, trademark. So that's absurd, and the law does not allow it. But why do these trolls, these tethers, these people pretend trademark equals leadership? Okay, this is mostly rhetorical sabotage, not confusion. All right. So what they're trying to pull is this. They don't like Tariq's influence. They're jealous. They can't beat the core FBA lineage argument. You see, they come on here, every last one of them get cooked, even the recent guy who just called in. So they frame Tariq Nasheed as the leader so they can do what? Try to get a W. Attack him personally. discredit the identity through association. Say if Tariq is wrong, FBA is wrong. If he goes to jail, FBA goes to jail. If Tariq is sued, FBA is sued. So that's why they want to attach Tariq to the lineage, which you can't do. Okay, so that is a classic poison the well fallacy. So that fallacy is called that argument where they want to pin everything on Tariq and everything is following him and depends on his success. Okay, that is called poison the well fallacy. FBA is a self-identifying ethnonym, not a membership organization. There is no central authority, no enrollment office, no pope, so to speak. Tariq is a prominent voice, not a sovereign. All of us have a voice. I keep saying that. Okay, every American has a voice. All right. So you don't stop being FBA because Tariq says something you disagree with, someone doesn't like his tone, a Pan-Africanist is mad at his platform. Ethnic identity is not revoked by YouTube commentary, okay? So trademark, again, it doesn't equate to ethnonym control, which is a key legal distinction. So trademark, what is trademark governance? Commercial use of words, logos in specific markets. Ethnonyms, what do they govern? Social identity formed by shared history, lineage, culture. Lineage, what does it govern? Biological plus historical descent. Leadership, what does that govern? Organizational authority over members. A trademark only touches the first row. Commercial use of words, logos in specific markets. That's it. Now, can trademarking a word make sense? So there is a legitimate reason to trademark a term like FBA. It is to stop tethers and trolls and corporations or bad actors from exploiting the name, to prevent dilution, deceptive commercial use, to protect a media brand attached to the term. That's defensive. That's defending, okay, not ethnic ownership. So now, many movements had already done that. The civil rights organizations, political slogans, cultural initiatives. None of that means one person owned the people. Okay. So if Tariq, so now they'll say if Tariq isn't the leader, why does his definition matter? Okay. So it doesn't automatically matter. I keep trying to tell you that. Tariq Nasheed has a website that's one of 43 million websites that can exist. There's no end all be all website. There's no end all be all requirement. We all got to agree, or at least the consensus. We got to come to an agreement, the majority of us, and that is it. I said before, initially to be FBA, the requirements were one parent, U.S. chattel slavery experience. Well, that wasn't airtight, obviously, because then Drake would be part of the FBA lineage, and Liberians also would be FBA, but they're not. But don't they all have one parent and U.S. chattel slavery lineage? Yes, but there's more to it. See, we tighten it up. So we have the right to tighten up things so people just don't slip in. This is only 7 to 8 years old. We got time to get it right. That song, take your time and do it right. We can do it, baby. Do it too. Yeah, we're going to take our time and do it right. You dig? And I'm proposing who's black and who isn't to that whole argument to requirement FBA. Not only you're not FBA, you're not even black. Not in this country. Okay. So so people focus on Tariq instead of the definition, which is clear. The definition is clear, U.S. chattel slavery, and a couple other things, right? So they rather argue the flags, the 3 stars, personalities, vibes, tone, YouTube clips. This is their stance. This is why they got to make somebody a leader. They need somebody to attack. They need somebody to defame, because they think attacking one person, defaming one person, or they want to believe attacking one person, defaming one person, beating up one person, whatever, one person, that the whole lineage fall behind one person. No, you're mad that that doesn't happen. The lineage continues no matter who's dead, who's alive, who's in jail, who's sued, who's not sued, who's successful, who's a failure. The lineage continues. No one person, no 2 person, no 100 people stop the lineage. Matter of fact, half the lineage could perish. The lineage still goes on. 80, 90% of the lineage can perish or be re-enslaved. The lineage still goes on. with that 10%. It keeps moving. Nobody stops. Nobody's bigger than the lineage. Nobody's equal to the lineage. The lineage keeps going. All right. Now, I know y'all ain't want to hear that. The haters,
Well, if you have a pet,
yeah, but that's a fact. We're taking black back. Okay, let me see. Any more? Now we got bring. Yeah, listen, you ain't got to troll in the chat. There's a link right there you can click. Right? So SL, you want to say something real quick before I close out?
No, bro. I was just getting on so you can check that out in the chat. And like you cooking today, bro. You know what I'm saying? And thank you for all your work. I just wanted to come in and say that. I'm gonna drop back down.
All right.
Okay, yes. Our brother sent this link. So let me play this. He advised me to play this link right here. You see this about.
To use the term Black Power, SNCC had already decided this before the march. That must be properly understood. We decided to use the march for an education purpose. Number one, we wanted to push strongly our struggle against the war in Vietnam. So people will look clearly at the merit of the march. You will see anti-Vietnam propping up here. King wasn't using it then, but you will see this is one of the areas where we started to hit him with it seriously. Our march was to put strong nationalism in, to have direct leadership from us, and of course, to throw out black power for the mass of the people. Now, I myself had been in Greenwood, Mississippi since early '60. I'd worked in the project there, and when head of the second congressional district, this was our base. So I had spent time in the jail in Greenwood so many times. The police knew me, the police chief knew me, everyone in the town knew me. So we decided Greenwood, it was SNCC's strongest base in the Delta. We couldn't go wrong. Unfortunately for the police, we went to set up some tents there, and the police decided to arrest me. Okay, so before I was arrested, we were discussing Greenwood. This is where we will launch Black Power. So when I got arrested, Ricks was on the side there when the police said, "Let them arrest you. We'll get you out of jail and you come out and make the speech tonight." And he disappeared. Well, you know how Rick speaks. So anyway, I went to jail. But I was brought out, and when I was released, it was at night, the speech was going on, and when I came to the speech, I was in line. Ricks came back. He said, "We have everything prepared. We're ready for Black Power. We've spoke about it all day. We've primed up the people." And luckily for us, our biggest problem was Martin Luther King, because I knew that once Black Power was said, Martin Luther King would have to come, not fight against it, but with his best try to give reasonings to water it down. But luckily for us, the night in Greenwood, King had to go to do a taped television thing, I think, for Meet the Press. So he had to go to Memphis. So he was not there the night in Greenwood. Ricks had everybody primed. He said, "Just get to your speech. We're going against freedom now. We're going for Black Power. Don't hit too much on freedom now, but hit the need for power." So we built up on the need for power. And just when I got there, before I got it, Ricks was there saying, "Hit him now, hit him now." And I kept saying, "Give me time, give me time." When we finally got it and we dropped it, Black Power, well, of course, they had been primed and they responded immediately. But I myself, to be honest, I didn't expect that enthusiastic response. You know, and the enthusiastic response obviously not only shocked me, but gave me more energy to carry it on further. By the time we got down that night, SCLC was running around everywhere. We knew it was finished. We had made our victory. They could not bring it back. It was over.
There you go. So that's some background of Black Power. Very cool history. Okay. Let me see. Anything else before we get? Yeah. He was out of pocket. Yeah, so it's like he underestimated our influence, which is okay. He's not from the lineage, but for him to come back and go against Black Power, that's the problem we had. Okay, and that seems to be the same storyline with certain riders. Like they usually come back and go against, or at some point contradict themselves. Like Marcus Garvey was supposed to be for the people, supposed to be a solution, but what'd he do? He ended up being an enemy. He ended up sabotaging, undermining, and setting Black people back for another 100 years, or another 50 years at least. Okay. That's how it should have always been. We got lion imagery in the building. Yeah, so everybody make sure if you're here for the first time, you definitely want to like the video, subscribe, click the notification bell, because most likely I already made you a moderator. And when I make you a moderator, that means that you're either of the lineage or you support the lineage. So we got some nice likes in there. Yeah, man, I thought this was a very productive. We got Miss D, 6 Women Sports in the building. So I thought this was a dope, productive live. Let me throw in, I'm trying to see which song y'all like the most. Let me throw in my, I was gonna do it all about the lineage or my house. So I'm gonna throw in a quick song. I gotta take a commercial break. I need some water. Here's a quick lineage song, FBA song. There you go.
No disrespect in my house, 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 in my house. No, none at all. Visitors should be thankful, but don't come at all. Come at all. No disrespect in my house, 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 in my house. Visitors should be thankful, or don't come at all. Where was the xenophobia when we were fighting with Ethiopia? Where were the bros when we exposed King and Leopold? Where were the vision for righteous when we fought for laws that made y'all migrants? Some grateful, some hateful, but all put up to our table and pulled out with a plate full. All put up to our table and pulled out with a plate full. No disrespect in my house, 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 in my house. Visitors should be thankful, or don't come at all. No disrespect in my house, 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 in my house. Visitors should be thankful, or don't come at all. Where was the xenophobia when we were fighting with Ethiopia? Where were the bros when we exposed King Leopold? Where were the visa for righteous when we fought for laws that made y'all migrants? Some grateful, some hateful, but all put up to our table and poured out with a plate full. All put up to our table and poured out with a plate full. No disrespect in my house, 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 in my house. Visitors should be thankful, or don't come at all. No disrespect in my house, 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 in my house. Visitors should be thankful, or don't come at all. Come at all. It's all about the lineage, babe. It's all about the lineage, babe. It's all about the lineage, babe. got activists, we got politicians, we got lawyers for ya. But don't knock us for being great. Delineate. And now we're singing, hey, it's all about the lineage, baby. Yeah, baby. It's all about the lineage, baby. Yeah. It's all about the lineage, baby. It's all about the lineage, baby. Can't nobody take our pride. Can't nobody hold us down, no. We gotta keep on moving. They keep on moving the goalposts. Oh no, no. Broken alliance everywhere. Broken arrows in every spirit. Let's be very clear. We ain't letting up. We ain't getting up. It's our throne, we built it. It's our home. Take your shoes off. It's all about the lineage, baby. Oh no, no. It's all about the lineage, baby. It's all about the lineage, baby. Oh no, it's all about the lineage, baby. Now what y'all wanna be? FBA, ADOF, freedmen, indigenous. We got shot callers, we got activists, we got politicians, we got lawyers for ya. But don't knock us for being great. Delete it. Broken arrows in every spear. Let's be very clear. We ain't letting up. We ain't getting up. It's our throne. We built it. It's our home. Take your shoes off. It's all about the lineage, baby.